The other puppet is who?
The other puppet is my friend William Ruto.
That one.
The pride of Africa.
Oh my God. that you know, that's the difference with the Rwandese and the Kenyans. I love Kenyan people because Kenyan people have integrity. Kenyan people are authentic and they are real. They know how to call a spade a spade. They come out here and they stand up tall and they hold their president accountable.
Yes.
When their president does something that's not right, Kenyans are first to speak about it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? They are so vocal with it. They're so involved, especially the youth. I see you guys. Much love to you guys. They agree so much and they have morals, these people.
I fully agree.
Kenyans.
Yeah, I fully agree. And I love that it's the youth. They are taking interest in their country because they are protecting their country for their kids. A loan that he took out with the IMF only the beginning of this year. So in order for him to be able to try and pay that back.
To repay the loan.
Yes.
With which way did he get this?
IMF. Yes.
Hey, International Monetary Fund.
Exactly.
The people that Ibrahim Traoré told to F off. To get up out of here, I don't need your money. The other puppet from the other side, from west to east, said, please come over this side. We can work together here.
Yes.
We can work together at the expense of my Kenyans.
And then he's trying to say, no. It's for the better of the country. How is it for the better of the country?
A puppet always has an explanation for every move he makes. For you to really understand this particular William Ruto, there was a little thing I noticed and I watched because I follow all these different puppets. You have to follow them. They are very quick, huh? They move around fast, huh?
Yes.
You know, puppets don't get tired.
No.
Puppets fly in and out.
Yeah.
You know, he just came back from the US.
Yes.
From Biden. And he was criticized about that trip.
About the way he went there, yes.
About the way he went there, about what he went there for, and his grin while he was there, his behavior, his demeanor while he was there. He was criticized left, right, and center.
Yes.
Obviously, it was in hopes of fulfilling this particular finance bill that we are not talking about here. It was to facilitate all that.
I understand President Ruto is the current chair of the East African Community Summit, having taken over from President Salva Mayardit Kir of South Sudan. So in that context, I understand that he is reacting properly and saying, these are member states, let's have an urgent meeting. But it beggars belief that you are calling the president of a former colonizer and a neo-colonizer to tell you how to run African affairs. But all these are out of what I call colonial hangover. African politicians still hold the view that they must be second-guessed and supported by presidents of former colonizers. We must decolonize our minds. You don't need Macron. You don't need any president to tell us in Africa how we can make our own peace. This is why they look down upon us, that even the things we can do, we still behave as if we are school boys and school girls, and they've got to tell us what to do. I hope that when the meeting of the East African Community Heads of State is convened, heads of state will say, no, we don't want France. No, we don't want all these fellows. They could be friends of goodwill, but the territory must be defined. What we are doing for Africans, let Africans do. Nyerere was so clear in these things that lasting peace can only be achieved if it is midwifed by Africans who are guarantors. And if we want any international presence in the meeting, it should be through the institution of the United Nations in which we are members, not some foreign power. And Macron has demonstrated not once, not twice, that he has great contempt for Africa.
Well, first of all, we'll say that the president of Kenya has long been regarded as a Western client, if not a puppet. And that's not without reason. He has regularly ingratiated himself with the West. He has been pursuing neoliberal economic policies within Kenya that have made the lives of the people increasingly miserable. Now, they're calling for the removal of the president of Kenya, William Ruto. Now, what I would say about that situation is that it's similar to the situation before it in Sudan, and it's similar to the situation before Sudan in Egypt, where the people are protesting against the government for policies that the government is implementing, which the government is held hostage to implement in favor of multinational corporations and international lenders. Chief among them, the International Monetary Fund. In fact, the bill that stirred the protests in Kenya initially is basically an IMF bill, a structural adjustment reform, an austerity measure that is being demanded by the IMF of the Ruto government. My position has always been that these leaders, these politicians, exist to take the blame for the policies that they're implementing on behalf of private sector power. That's why they exist. That's why I call them effigies, because they exist to implement the policies that will make them unpopular, and then they'll take the brunt of the unpopularity. They'll take the brunt of public anger, and then they'll be removed, but the policies will remain, because the source of the policies is the private sector, is the international private sector, it's the OCGFC, it's the Western multinational corporations and lenders, financial institutions, and so forth. Again, specifically the International Monetary Fund. This is your problem. And now, who is the International Monetary Fund doing what it's doing? Who is it doing it for? It's not doing it for Kenya, we all know that. And the lenders are managing the economy in such a way as to benefit Western multinational corporations.
Quick discussion about this. Before I go deeper and through my conversation, let me ask you, what do you think about Dr. William Ruto engagement with the French President, Mr. Emmanuel Macron? What do you think is going on? Because this is the time I think that all and many Africans are against any foreign leader. Many youths of Africa are against the foreign leaders. They are against of anything that comes out from out of Africa, anything that is foreign. They are not even, not only the youths, but all the Africans at this time. They are against the foreign policies, foreign democracy, the foreign aids and everything. That's why you saw even when Donald Trump cut off the foreign aids from all the black nations that were receiving. Some and many of the Africans celebrated this incident. Instead of crying out, they celebrated. Many Pan-Africanists came out, like Dr. Rikana, Julius Malema, and many African leaders came out and tried to talk to the Africans that we have to celebrate this. The retired president of Kenya, Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta, came out and slammed out Africans who were complaining about that action of Donald Trump cutting off the foreign aids. Because, you can't be independent. Why you are still believing or depending some people in some things from other people to come and give out to you? You can't be independent while you are still getting some offers which you are not being paying for it. So just the other day during the AU summit in New York, we saw the Kenyan president, Mr. Dr. William Ruto, when he went to gift Emmanuel Macron, the president of France, some of the African artifacts and all this, and this brought out different reactions from different people of Africa, because in reality we can say that maybe he is marketing our products. Yeah, he can be marketing our products, of course, but according to the situation, according to how things are, this looks differently to people. This brings a different picture to the people, because this is a point where people say that there is no way we can be fighting against this imperialist. There is no way you can be fighting so hard to make sure that we overcome any contact or any intact from Africans and the foreigners, mostly our former colonizers, because they have, at least at this time, nothing to offer to us. They have nothing good to offer to us. So I think when the whole situation of what happened during slavery time, during colonization, and immediately, even after the African countries got independence, they never left, but they just changed the clothes. They just came in other forms. They just changed a way of enslavement, where those times they were enslaving Africans physically, where the Africans were tortured, chained, harassed and killed, raped, and some of them taken out of the country, of African countries, and taken to the West African, of the West countries. But at this time they changed the way of colonization, the slavery, and introduced their neo-colonialism, where now they are colonizing us through the systems. They are colonizing us through the foreign policies, through the white supremacies, through different ways of colonization, where that's why we are still having their military bases here in Africa. That's why you're still having, where we are not the one making, we're not living under the African policies or any African democracy, but we're still living under their leadership, under their control, they're still coming to exploit Africans. They're still coming here and take all that they have been doing, all that they have been taking all that long. So when you go to the West African countries, I talk of Sahel, what do? They expelled French troops from Africa, from their countries. They formed their own alliances after they have withdrawn themselves from ECOWAS. And you know what? From that time, they created a bloc which is very strong. And up to date, this bloc is now carrying up those countries, protecting them. And they're able now at least to make their own policies, to make their own decisions, to govern on their own way. What they're doing at this time is how they're fighting on how they can introduce their own currency, which will be strong because their country have a lot of minerals, a lot of richness in the soil. So there is no a day the former colonizer will be appreciative to their colonies. There is no a single day that we as Africans or the black people will do something and then comes the foreigners or the colonizers appreciate all that we're doing. If they could have did this, then they would have did this during the time, at this time, because they could have at this time treating the black Americans well. In America, the government would have been put the black Americans in a priority, in most of the priorities. They could have been treated well. They have been prioritized before anyone else, because these people, their ancestors, their bloodline, they're the one who built up this great empire, this great America that today they're so bragging about it. That today they're being segregated. That today the black men are still dying in the streets. They're still being denied opportunities and chances from that land. They don't have freedom. They don't have peace in the land their forefathers built through the sweat, torture, blood, through theft. It's so very painful to see some of the African leaders today are still engaging, collaborating with the foreign, with our former colonizers who did a lot of things to our ancestors who are really trying so hard to make sure that they make Africa great. So many people have been coming out to speak these issues because this was portrayed as an image of neocolonialism. At this time, you can't come and try to convince Africans that maybe Dr. William Ruto was just marketing the Kenyan products, because even those people who are being marketed all these products, they will not come to buy, but they will come to take, because that is what they have been doing all that long. When you go and smile with those people, they will smile with you. But at the back of this, they will come and take advantage from that smile. They will come and take all that you have, leaving you in a poorest situation.
So the French government has fallen again, but international news media is going to be very shy about telling us the real reason why it's fallen, the economic reasons why it's fallen. On his way out, the ousted Prime Minister, Mr. Francois, said, "You might kick me out, you might remove me, but that does not change the economic problems for the country." I'm paraphrasing. The real reason why France has failed as a government is because Africa has taken its power back. Ever since the country of Niger in the Sahel, in Central West Africa, decided to nationalize its uranium, France has never been the same again. This uranium that state-owned companies like Orano, French-owned companies like Orano had been siphoning, stealing under the previous government, today, Niger turned off the faucet.
Today, France is in a crisis. France is in a crisis since they were rejected with their former colonies. Today, France is having the great debt that has erupted the entire situation of the country. Their economy has been shaken because they are not able to get all that they have been getting from Africa, which have made them, which has built them, which has branded them to be France. A lot of things people don't understand is that we were told a lot of stories, a lot of histories, a lot of lies, and we believed in it. We believed in them because the West and the white men said that Africa cannot survive without them. We must need them. But here comes the narrative. Africa is not going to any other continent or any other place to get the resources. But but all of them are the ones who are coming to Africa to get our resources. For the companies of the West to build up or to create all that they are creating today, which is making the economy to be high, which is making them to develop and do all that they are doing, they must come to Africa and take all these minerals. They must come to take cobalt, to take gold, to take diamond, take gold, uranium, for them to go and build up these countries, to build up all these gadgets, all this, but they're still underestimating Africa. They still see Africa. So, what do you think is happening here? Because most of the time, Kenya has been seen as a betrayal, as a scent of puppetry to the West. If you can remember the time Michael Langley, the general who was fighting so hard to make sure that Ibrahim Traore steps down because he was the AFRICOM commander, and the AFRICOM commander is a unit that is put there to deal with the African issues in a military way. And during the visit of Michael Langley, most of the Africans, they were not ready to appreciate, to receive him. They were not ready to cooperate and to welcome that general from their countries. But Kenya did. Because when Michael Langley was coming here in Africa, he came to Kenya directly.
He's here for the African Chief of Defense Conference, and right now, let me just play you a video that explains why AFCOM is here. And why do they really have to call it AFCOM? Because AFCOM is just African, they give it this very bougie name for you to think this has to do with Africa. But this has nothing to do with Africa. Actually, AFCOM stands for United States Africa Command. And this is just a US military watchdog for Africa. That is what AFCOM is. And there's a particular reason why they don't want to use the US in front of AFCOM. So they give it this really bougie name. It's just part of the US military that focuses on Africa. And I'll be back to what they do, but I did promise you a video. So first, let's watch why they are here in Kenya. And then I'll be back to tell you what they do and what exactly they must be doing or they might be doing. You have to really dig deep inside and ask yourself, why are they really here? Most of the time we go with the narrative.
Well, that's where he hold his meetings and all with all the generals of in Kenya and some of the countries in Africa, in West Africa, in East Africa. And many people speak a lot concerning these issues. How can Kenya host this great enemy of Africa? Many people reacted about that incident, but we just saw it like a normal thing until the time we come to realize how dangerous was it. Until the time we come to realize how dangerous it was. Now, when you see the African youths are rejecting their leaders, those are some of the reasons. When you see the Kenyan Gen Zs are fighting so hard each and every day, they go on the streets to fight against their leaders, against their regime, because those are some of the reasons why this is happening, because they don't trust their leaders. When they are busy fighting on how to eliminate this foreign policy, all these foreigners, then their leaders are fighting so hard to go and continue expanding their relationship, which is not bearing any fruits. At the end of the day, they are still coming here to take everything that the youth supposed to be using to make up their life. I will not take much of your time. I don't know what do you feel about this incident, because when African leaders continue with this mindset, this is not the time of. This is the time of Africans doing things on their own way. This is the time that no any people have to come to Africa to tell African leaders on how to govern their countries. How can they do this when at this time we're watching all that is happening to their countries? They have failed to control their governments. They have failed to lead their people. They have failed to protect their own governments. Their own people are out of their control. The democracy that they introduce here in Africa is not working in their countries. So what can they come to tell us which is new and maybe we feel like it can come and help us? There's nothing. So the African leaders have to wake up. I thought that concerning the issues that in the whole situation that's happening today, that's always ongoing today from the West, we are watching all that's happening in France, because the youths are on the streets, they are blocked everywhere. The Paris is on fire, it's at flame. They don't want to see their president Emmanuel Macron anywhere else, but still, they are still having that energy to come, and they want to still come and dictate to Africans. They want to come and tell us how to govern our own countries. They want to tell us how and who to deal or to trade with. At this time, Africa don't need any help. We are not beggars, but we want to be traders, so that when they come here in Africa, they come in a way of negotiating. They give, they get. They give out, they get what they want. That's what we want. We want a free trade relationship, a 50-50 relationship, but not a dictative relationship, not a manipulation so just tell me to have the comment section, because things are worsening, and the country of Kenya is being seen as a traitor of the African continent. So It's high time the Africans youths, the Africans themselves come out and stand to defend their own country, because our leaders are burning up our countries. Our leaders are selling out our countries. They are selling out our generation, our future, to the people who celebrate every step of our failure. Until next time, we come into the same. Thank you very much for staying in. Thank you for being here each and every time, for all that supporting, all that sending me super thanks, all that are subscribing, commenting, and sharing my videos. Don't stop doing this, because we are not yet reached where we want to be, and you're the one making me to do this and every time. Until next time, we come to the same at the same time at the same place. Be blessed. From I love you and I appreciate you. Be blessed.